I was 5 when I first said your name, Jesus, like it was safety, like it was shelter, like it could somehow reach across split homes and suitcase goodbyes and the silence of a father I couldn't follow. And I think that's when the war began. Not loud at first, not obvious, just a whisper. You're not wanted. And then there was you, soft and steady. I chose you. I grew up in a house where fear had a schedule, where footsteps meant embrace yourself, where the love was twisted by the hands of my stepfather, hands that hurt, and words that bruised deeper than fists ever could, where discipline was just another word for rage. And my mom, she was so young, doing the best she knew how, and most of it happened when she wasn't home. I remember watching her leave and feeling fear settle in before the door even closed. I remember being thrown against walls like I was nothing, like I didn't matter enough to break gently. I remember being dragged by my hair into a house that never felt like home. I remember learning how to be quiet so the pain would pass quicker. And still, the enemy whispered, "This is what you deserve." And then there was you. In church pews and classroom corners, you found me. In songs about a father who didn't leave, didn't hurt, didn't raise his voice unless it was to call me beloved. And I didn't understand it, not fully, but I wanted it. God, I wanted you. I lived 2 lives. The happy girl, smiling, laughing, bright enough to hide the truth, and the hidden girl, calloused skin, cracked open, bleeding where no one could see, too sore to sit, too scared to speak. I learned how to explain away the pain, busted lips blamed on cat scratches, stories shaped just enough to protect the one hurting me. And I still don't understand it. How I covered for him while he was breaking me. Except that somewhere deep down I just wanted a dad. And sometimes I wonder, how did no one notice? I told myself my silence was sacrifice. If I stayed quiet, my sisters could keep a father. If I endured, maybe I could hold the family together with bruised hands and a breaking heart. At 5 years old, I thought I was the glue. And the enemy said, stay quiet, stay small, stay stuck. But you said, I see you. I used to daydream about running away, or not waking up at all. Because when chaos is your normal, you don't dream big dreams. You just dream of safety, of being held without flinching, of being loved without earning it. The only places I could breathe were church and school, places where nobody knew what I was surviving, spaces where joy was real, but temporary, because I knew I had to go back. Still, I fell in love with the idea of you, a good father, a kind savior, a man who didn't take, but gave. And I decided somewhere deep inside, a little girl still hoping, I'll marry a man like that. At 14, the door finally opened. Freedom came in the form of divorce. And I thought, this is it. I'm free. But freedom doesn't always feel like freedom when you don't know how to live without chains. I carried anger like it was oxygen, pride like it was protection, distance like it was safety. 13 schools in 11 years, at least the ones I can remember. I stopped trying to belong because leaving hurt less when you never arrived. Chaos felt like home. Still does sometimes. I catch myself rearranging rooms just to feel something familiar, because peace is still new to me. But then you started speaking louder, not just over me, but through me. Healing places I didn't even know had names, uncovering wounds I had buried under survival. And now I'm living in answered prayers I was too scared to dream. A home that's steady, a love that's gentle, a husband that holds pieces of me that he didn't break, and children. God, my children. Little faces that look at me the way I've looked at you, hoping, trusting, needing safety. And the war still whispers, what if you become what hurt you? But you answer, I am making you new. Sometimes I look at my daughter and I see her innocent, soft, untouched by the world's cruelty. And it terrifies me. Because I know what this world can do. Because I remember what was done to me. But I also know you. And I'm learning how to mother from a place I never received. How to love with your blueprint. How to build a home that doesn't need recovery. My therapist asked me once, if Jesus could take one thing from you, what would you ask him to take? And my voice shook because the answer was already breaking through my chest. Anything that keeps me from being a good mom. Because more than anything, I just want to give them a childhood they don't have to heal from. And maybe that's where the war ends. Not in perfection, not in forgetting, but in redemption. Because what the enemy meant to silence me, you're using to give me a voice. And what was meant to break me, you're rebuilding into something whole. And I'm no longer the girl in hiding. No longer a voice that stays quiet. No longer fighting for scraps of love. Because I've found it in you. And this heart, it's not a battlefield anymore. It's yours.